You ever wonder why you're given dreams and what they mean? Well, I'm going to tell you about a dream I had back in 1978. And my two boys were 5 and 3. And I had this dream in the morning, and I woke up, and it was a dream that kind of shocked me. And I was looking for Ken, and he had already left for work. We didn't have cell phones in those days, so I had to just go through this on my own here. I went down to check to make sure the boys were okay. But the dream was I was walking through my home, and all of a sudden there's the doorbells ringing and ringing, and all these little kids are pounding on the door, and I went over and I answered it. And all these little kids start yelling, "Dan fell off the cliff at the end of the street, and he needs you to help him, come help him." And so I run down to the end of the street, and I look down, it's a big huge hole, and this Dan's laying it down. He's a little tiny kid, and he's just laying there, and he's looking up, and he's going, "Mommy, help me. Mommy, help me." And I mean, I looked at him and I said, "I can't." And the dream ended, and I woke up. And so anyway, I didn't know what to do with me. I'd never had a dream that was so active for me. But I got the kids ready, got them to the sitter, and I went to my Bible study, which was with the Women's Aglow at that time. And I walked in, and all the ladies were talking about dreams. It was really funny. I told my friend, Rita, I sat down by her, and I said, "I had a dream last night." I said, it was pretty shocking. And she stopped all the ladies and said, "Cathy has a dream. See if you can figure this one out." And so I told them the dream, of how, what had happened. Well, they were all going, trying to figure out what everything meant in the dream. And Rita leaned over to me and she goes, "Cathy, that wasn't a dream." She goes, "You had a vision." She goes, "Something's going to happen to Dan, and you're not going to be able to help him." And I said, "Oh." And I figured, well, okay, and I accepted that. When I left the Women's Aglow, the dream had left me. I didn't think about it. It didn't come back into my memory. I never told anybody past that time. 15 years later, my son Dan committed a murder. And he was arrested, and we were in shock. And our attorney at the time told us to get out of town. They're going to bring him back into our city, and we're going to be overrun with press. And so we left, and we went someplace where there was no TV, no newspapers, and we, went to sleep. At 3 a.m, I woke up in that same shock, and I started crying. I mean, I was sobbing. I was crying so hard. And Ken wakes up, and he puts his arms around me, and he tells me it's going to be okay. And I said, "No, you don't understand." I said, "I had this dream back when Dan was a little kid." And I said, in the dream, and I told him the dream. And he looked at me and he says, "Why have you never told me this?" I said, "It was gone until today." And I said, "We can't help Dan. We can't do anything for him." And so we prayed about it, and we gave Dan back to the Lord. And Jesus was very faithful. It was very hard going through this trial, but that's what I was warned about. And if I hadn't been warned, I might have tried to fix this, because that would have been my nature as a mother, to try and help him and think he couldn't have done this, but I knew he did. And because we were faithful and we trusted in Jesus, today Dan is a whole new person, and I just thank God for it.